Hey guys, Chris and Boomer here live in the Dream Giveaway Garage.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Yeah, and if you guys are in the Northeast and you're hunkering down on this big storm, then we're going to give you some entertainment this afternoon in our Dream Giveaway Garage Facebook Live.
At least we're going to attempt to, because we've had a request for something that we'll just give it our best shot.
Let's do that. So,
all right, so we had somebody ask us, what's the difference between the exhaust on the 66 Corvette and the exhaust on the 2020 ZL1 1LE Camaro? Well, I'll tell you, they're both exhaust systems. Two, they both run a nice H-pipe in here so that you get a nice crossover flow. The real change comes as you get to the back of these cars. I mean, this 66 has your standard, these are GM production mufflers running, I think, a 2-inch pipe. So it's not a big pipe, it's a small pipe. I mean, you can see the exhaust pipe here. That's about the size of the pipe that comes out. It's a 2-inch pipe. You get a nice little rumble from the stock mufflers, and everything on here is stock. It's got a set of stock cast iron manifolds on it. It's got stock mufflers on it, and then it's got the stock little chrome tips on it. So, but it works well. It works well for this. This is what was on it when this car was new. This is a 427 390 horse 4-speed, and that's what came on this car when it was new.
Here's the other thing. Let's talk a little bit about how exhaust systems and emissions have changed a little bit over the years. Back in the 60s, you got the mufflers, you got the back pressure, you got the exhaust note, and that was about it. It wasn't until about the mid-70s that the catalytic converters started getting put on the exhaust systems. And when they first came out, everybody wanted to take them off because they were power robbers.
Right. I mean, you ended up with either too much back pressure, or when you change your mufflers, you got not enough back pressure, and that does affect the way that the motor runs. Of course, remember, this car has I don't think this car has any emissions on it at all. There's, what we think of today, where you've got a computer that kind of judges and adjusts your fuel-air mixture for what's going on, what's coming out your exhaust. It does that through your O2 sensors. This car doesn't have any of that. Basically it runs the way it runs. If it's running rich, it runs rich. If it's running lean, it runs lean. You got to get into the carburetor and you've got to adjust all that out. The newer stuff, and we'll talk about this in a minute when we get over the ZL1, that's all computer controlled now.
Absolutely. Now, despite this being a 50-year-old engineered exhaust system, it actually sounds pretty darn sweet.
It does. It sounds great, and it sounds not significantly different from the exhaust systems of today. There's just a little bit more technology involved.
That's a good summary right there.
Carlos wants to know how loud it is.
Oh, well
I think
we'll
we should fire it up. So, classic exhaust, 2¼ inch pipes, coming right off a factory.
Cast iron
manifolds.
Yep.
Manifolds, or factory headers, we might have called them back in the day. And Boomer, all you.
All right, here we go. Come on, baby.
All right, it's cold here in Florida today.
There we go. Third time's a charm. So it's not super loud. I mean, you're not going to get a whole bunch out of this car. It is what it is. This is the way this car came from the factory. This is the way it was set up, and this is the way it sounds.
All right.
Can we pop the hood while it's running?
Of course you can.
I got it.
There you go. I mean, this is a 427 390 horse. This is a solid lifter car. It's got air conditioning on it. You can see the cast iron manifolds that are on here. They're pretty much like just about came on all the GM products. I mean, it's what it is. This does have the transistorized ignition to help it start a little bit easier. But you know what? It's a great little car.
Yeah, now that it's coming into the idle, that choke is backing off a little bit.
Yep.
This really has a nice purr to it. That 427 has a nice rumble, but it's not it's not overly aggressive.
No, it's not. These were, I mean, these 390 horse cars, they made a little bit more than that, but you know what? They were very mild and performed very well compared to everything else that was out there in that day.
Let's move on over to the Camaro, huh?
All right.
Maxine says you could eat off now.
Of course you can.
Depends
Yes.
what you're going to eat.
Yeah.
So come on over here now. So again, an exhaust system on a new vehicle does the same thing, but a whole lot more because of all of the rules and regulations and laws and bylaws concerning emissions.
All right, so like we said, there's a lot of technology that goes into these new exhaust systems. From up front where everything's connected, you've got smog stuff on there. You've got, I think this car actually has 4 O2 sensors in it. It's got 2 before the cats and 2 after the cat, 1 on each side. Goes into a big H pipe. But this, we'll use this as a demo. This is the same axle back piece that is on the ZL1 Camaro, more or less. Okay, so this came off the 2018 Cadillac, which has the exact same motor as the ZL1. All right, the CTS-V and the ZL1 share the 6.2 supercharged ZL1 motor.
Correct.
So what you get, instead of now having 2 individual mufflers, what is literally what we put back on the Cadillac, the Corsa system, which is a very nice system, this has this one large chambered setup here, flows from each side into your big muffler pack, and then you've got dual outlets, and you see these here. These have a set of wires that plug into them, and these are basically for opening and closing the exhaust valves in these exhausts. So when you're in regular mode, touring mode in the Cadillac, touring mode in the ZL1, these valves are closed. So you don't get the same exhaust note that you're going to get when you go to sport mode or to track mode. Because when you do go into those modes, it electrically opens a valve in here, it swings it around, and it opens these up so you get more exhaust, you get less back pressure, you can make higher horsepower.
Yeah, what a great visual aid right here. Again, that's very similar to what's in the ZL1. We don't have that up on the lift for Lift Up Wednesdays, but that is a good aid there. And now here's the actual exhaust on that ZL1, and you can see the same quad tips that are on the Cadillac. And Boomer, tell us a little bit about the size of the exhaust on this.
Yeah, the exhaust pipe on this is the same size it is on here. This is about a 2.5, 2 3/4 inch pipe with a 3-inch opening in the rear. I mean, it's quite a big pipe. If you compare this to like a 2-inch pipe that's on the old cars,
yeah,
this is a lot of exhaust flow. And of course, you see cars that run even bigger than that. Some run 3.5. That is a whole lot of flow, but you got to have a whole lot of horsepower to push through that.
Well, you got it right here. Remember that classic Vet for the day, 390 was a lot of horsepower.
Yeah.
And now this from the factory, 650. After the mods from our good friends at Lingenfelter Performance Engineering, 720 horsepower.
720 horse, 730 foot-pounds of torque.
What do you say we fire this up now?
We can do that.
We'll let you guys, we'll give you a treat. We'll let you hear the exhaust note on this Camaro.
Go! Okay, so when you start up, it always starts in tour mode. So basically, that is touring, and then I will take it and move it over to sport mode. There it goes. There we go. And then track is the same thing. There's track mode there. Yeah, and when you've got this thing in gear and you're running, normally those valves won't even open until you hit a certain RPM. But you know what? It's when it does open, it goes, it gets fairly loud. But that's okay. That's what it's supposed to be.
So here's a question.
Yes.
One of our great Facebook fans is asking right now, which is louder in track mode? The GT500 that we're going to call the winner on not this Thursday, but next Thursday, or the Z01?
GT500 is louder in just standard mode than this is in track mode.
So the GT500 then
Yes.
is the answer to the question there.
Yes.
That's a great question, by the way. Any other questions there from our great Facebook audience?
The best was, I think Daryl was talking about how the government got involved in causing the customers to change out the exhaust systems.
I mean, to a certain extent, I guess that's true. I mean, all these cars have gone through the government mandated, you know, it's fuel mileage, it's exhaust restrictions, it's parts per million that can have to come out of them. And so there's a lot of technology that goes into here now. But that technology didn't just drive, you know, exhaust, it drove everything else too.
And you know what, this just came to me. Exhaust notes are really a dying art, because come 2035, General Motors at least will no longer have any internal combustion engines on any passenger vehicles or light duty trucks. And so guys, that means we've got about 14 more years to enjoy exhaust tones on new vehicles. What do you all think of that?
Lands Oil says there is slight a difference, LOL.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tony. Always appreciate you watching us. Hey, speaking of which, I know Tony likes the Corvettes. We just launched Corvette yesterday. We gave it a sneak peek on Friday. Why don't we, before we end this Facebook Live today, let's give them another peek at that 61 Corvette.
We can do that.
Okay, come on over here, guys.
Of course, this thing has an exhaust note all of its own as well, because this is a 61 Resto mod.
Yeah.
It's running an LS3 crate motor backed by a Tremec T56 6-speed, and it runs on, I think the system in this is a MagnaFlow.
Yeah.
But it has a very, very nice note to it. Let the fuel pump come on here.
Oh,
there we go.
Now that's nice.
That is a really, really nice exhaust note.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful little rumble. The engine does have a good cam in it. You can hear that cam through the exhaust note. Yeah. I love the fact that the exhaust on this one is all four right in the middle. Very, very cool. Yeah, just an amazing, amazing little car.
Absolutely. This just launched yesterday, half of the grand prize in the Corvette Dream giveaway, the other half of the grand prize, a brand new 2021 Corvette Stingray mid-engine Corvette. And that's going to be going to Lingenfelter for some engine mods. Then we'll be back down to us, hopefully later in this spring.
Yeah, it's going to get a tune, a slight tune from Lingenfelter. I think it's getting a new exhaust. It's going to get a couple of other things. I don't think we're set exactly on what it's going to get yet. But we're talking about Lingenfelter without cracking the motor open and without being able to really get into the computer itself. Talking about getting another 100 horsepower out of that C8. So.
That's nice.
Will that one be as loud as the Cadillac or the GT500?
No, it will not. Well, I don't know. It depends on what exhaust they put on there.
It'll putting a Corsa system. Lingenfelter and Corsa co-developed a system specifically for the C8, so it could be just as loud as.
I don't know. I have to look it up. I'm not exactly sure. I've never seen an aftermarket exhaust on one of these yet. So
yeah, we promise we'll show it off once it gets down here from up north, guys. Any other questions, Mr. Director? And PJ, thanks for being back in the Dream Giveaway Garage. You had a couple of days off.
Carlos wants to know if he can be a photographer for us.
Yeah, sure. Why not? We always need a good photographer.
Yeah, come on down, Carlos.
Lexi's looking for her Hellcat.
So we're looking for your Hellcat too, Lexi. Hopefully we're going to get that car back here fairly soon. It's been gone for quite a while, but we should get it back here in another few weeks.
Is the MagnaFlow better or Flowmasters?
Well, you know what? That really comes down. That's a preference.
It's a personal preference. all of these exhaust systems sound different. It's all a matter of what you want. Each exhaust system goes through a different range of sounds depending on whether you're running you want a loud sound, you want a medium sound, you want a suppressed sound, how big a pipe are you running, what kind of horsepower is your motor making, what kind of headers are you running. There's so many things that go into that really change. We got monkeys in the building that really change the exhaust note on this car. I mean, you could switch this over to a Corsa in a different setup, and it would sound completely different.
Absolutely.
What's the horsepower of the 3 vehicles that you started today?
525, 390, and 720.
There you go.
And I'm not doing math in public, so I'll let you add that up.
Yeah, about 1,600 or so combined. That's going to wrap it up for today. Fantastic Monday here. Thanks for joining us on today's topic, checking out the exhaust on the Cars in the Dream Giveaway Garage. We'll see you next time. More great fun, more great action, more great grand prize packages like this wonderful 1961 Resto Mod Corvette. We just announced it yesterday. You can get your tickets right now at www.dreamgiveaway.com. Use promo code Facebook Live. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.